have to raise it up as usual. So, full disclosure here, I am not Eva Camacho, I'm sorry. As Jackie mentioned, she was taken ill, caught something from her son, so she is homesick. And I'm filling in for her, so bear with me. I won't be quite as spontaneous as the past presenters because I'm reading, and I also have to translate everything to third person, so patience, but I'll do my best. So Eva was born in Jaén in southern Spain. It's the town where she grew up, and it's also the town where she met her American husband. She said she was highly influenced by her mother's textile skills and by her father's charisma and strength. She came to the US in 1998, and for 8 years she worked as a Spanish teacher, as a translator, as an interpreter for IMF, the World Bank, and the Inter-American Development Bank. In 2008, though, she discovered wet felting, and her life did a 180-degree turn. She was convinced to sell her work by a friend, and in 2013 she started by selling scarves, bags, hats, and home decor at fine arts shows. And in 2015 she was tired of making scarves all the time, so she made the Barcelona vest. This is fast, wow. This is a wearable piece that helped really launch her career. She talks about felting as an ancient technique to create a piece of cloth in where hot water is applied to layers of animal hairs, such as wool, with repeated agitation and compression. She combines wool with silk to make these designs, and says the beauty of felting is that it's seamless, so you don't necessarily need to know how to sew to create beautiful and lasting, elegant garments. So shrinkage is one important factor, and she says that her wearable pieces on average shrink from 45 to 60%. So she needs to figure out how much each piece is going to shrink, so she knows where to start it and where it will finish. But if you master your math skills, you should be able to do it, she says. By 2017, she'd been part of some of the major art shows in the US, Paradise City, the Smithsonian Craft Show, American Craft Council, all of these in 2017. But she also knew that wearable art was not what she wanted to do forever. The stress of production kind of took over, and going to the studio wasn't fun for her anymore. So in November of 2017, she took the radical decision of not doing wearable art any longer. She did need to fulfill the remaining orders, which she did, but by May of 2018, she says she was free. And it was then that she was invited to do a residency at Mass MoCA in Western Mass, and once again, her life took a 180-degree turn. So she took this opportunity to start working on issues that were important to her, such as climate change, women's issues, and social justice. And it was at this residency that she started playing around with different mediums and combining them with felt, as you can see in this image. These are staples. She learned how to knit and sew from her mother, who was a seamstress starting at the age of 13. And there was always needles and threads as she was growing up in the household. And who knew that 20 years after she left the house, she'd be picking up the needle once again. She says that stitching for her is a way of meditation, one stitch at a time. She doesn't know where the needle will go and what effect it will have on the surface of the felt. She's been called a craftivist, an environmentalist, and a feminist, but she calls herself a textile lover. She says, and I quote, she gets butterflies in her stomach whenever she sees a piece of fabric or a thread. Whatever I find, I take and I make it mine. She loves creating texture with felt. This piece, Lack of Rain, was created as a way to raise awareness about the problems of climate change. as well as some of the solutions that we can implement to help reduce the effects and adapt to new environmental realities. So you can see the cracker in this particular image. This next piece, Enough, was part of the Crafting Democracy exhibition, and it aims to keep us sensitive and attuned to ongoing tragedies such as mass shootings. It's currently traveling around the country after being shown at the Rochester Public Library in New York. At the beginning of 2019, she created this piece, Border Scars. She asks, what is the purpose of borders? What do they do? Are they essential in creating identity, values, and ideals? One of the founders of the European Union, in fact, said that borders are the scars of history. In this piece, there are 1,475 stitches you can see at the top, one for each child whose whereabouts is uncertain after trying to cross the Mexican border. It's designed to honor those who have suffered through such hardship and serve as a reminder that this event will create deep, lasting scars. This piece is probably one of her most personal ones, and it talks about domestic violence, which many women in her family actually suffered from. It's called The Scars We Carry, and represents the scars that all women carry within them because of domestic violence. The second one in the series is called Silent Scars, and it's another piece addressing the issues of domestic violence. She said, only recently has the Spanish justice system admitted that it's failing the victims of domestic violence. And she stresses that it's important for society to recognize this as a deep societal issue. The last piece is called Corrosive Epidemic. It's being exhibited at the Fuller Craft Museum in Brockton. I'm going to finish. And it aims at broadening awareness of the opioid epidemic and its ruinous effect. So this is the longest piece she's ever made, literally. It's 35 feet long, and it's her message of hope. Thank you.